I'm going to try to make this video short and sweet. As you may have noticed, my background's a little different than usual. That's because I'm actually on vacation in Germany and I'm filming from my grandmother's house. And I don't have my regular camera or any of my other setups, so there's not going to be any fancy editing in this video. But I thought you guys still deserved a quick review on Season 1, Episode 11 of Star Trek Discovery, The Wolf Inside. I thought this was a pretty good episode in terms of what we've been given from Discovery so far, but I think it also did have a lot of problems, and those problems are really just continuing the nature of this show. I personally find it far too serialized, too bogged down in the details, and too bogged down in trying to be shocking and revealing, and I think that this episode had a lot of that sensationalism that I have come to dislike about Star Trek Discovery. So what I mean by that is we got two big reveals in this episode. We finally got confirmation that Ash Tyler is actually the Klingon Vok in disguise, and we find out that the Emperor is, of course, Captain Georgiou, who died in the Prime Universe, and I found neither of those reveals remotely compelling or all that surprising. In fact, I pretty much suspected that Georgiou was going to be the Emperor, but the annoying thing is when they did the reveal, they have Michael Burnham looking so shocked, even though she's been reading about the Terran Empire for a couple of days. She's been living on their ship. I find it totally ridiculous to believe there was no way for her to find a picture of the Emperor or the Emperor referenced by name or anything like that. It seems totally ridiculous that she wouldn't have read up on the Emperor enough to know that this is the Mirror Universe Georgiou, especially because she seemed to be interested in finding out what happened to other people that she knew in the Prime Universe in the Mirror Universe. So that just seemed really ridiculous, and it was one of those moments that was clearly supposed to be this big, impactful reveal, and it just wasn't. I was so disappointed by it. And, of course, that came on the tail of Georgiou ruining her plan to let the rebels escape from their base. And through that, we also got the reveal that Ash Tyler is Vok, which was also not a particularly interesting reveal because everyone has theorized that Ash Tyler is Vok since his introduction because it was so obvious. So I don't know why they acted like this was some big reveal either. And it just felt like this episode was trying too hard to have more stakes than it did, and it was just really disappointing. So I wasn't a huge fan of this episode. The stuff that I did like was that we got to see her interact with and explore the rebels a little bit. I liked that she tried to use the rebels to figure out how she could maybe form some kind of peaceful alliance with Klingons in her universe if she ever gets back to it, and I think that it's kind of a good way to keep building up the decency of Michael's character and make it clear that she does have a strong moral compass and strong compassion. I got really annoyed that Sarek was a plot device here. I'm really getting sick of seeing Sarek over and over and over and over again, and I don't know, I just wasn't that happy with this episode. I think that it was a good continuation of their adventures in the Mirror Universe so far, but I don't think it was a particularly good Star Trek episode, and it didn't really feel that much like Star Trek to me, just like most of Discovery doesn't, but it was kind of palpable, particularly in this episode. There was just so much stuff that they tried to make bigger and shocking and more emotional, and it just felt forced. It just felt kind of flat. And I think it's because we really haven't gotten to know these characters well enough to care about them when they try to manufacture these kinds of stakes for them. Like, we've seen a little bit about Ash Tyler and Michael Burnham's romance, but I don't think we really saw enough to make it all that impactful when he turns. And I don't know, it just feels a little bit clumsy, and I'm not quite sure what they're doing. And I still have hope that this season might get better, and that maybe when they finally get either done with the Mirror Universe or done with the Klingon War in general, maybe Star Trek Discovery will start to feel a little more Star Trek. But I'm not that optimistic, and I don't know, this episode just felt kind of flat for me. I thought there were some really good and interesting elements, and I know that those reveals were coming for ages, so it's not like they weren't not going to do them just because they were obvious, but the way they did them did feel increasingly sensationalized and kind of clumsy, and I don't know, I want to expect more from this series, but I don't. This is about what I expected. And part of me feels a little disappointed when an episode ends and I want to see what happens next, but it's not in the same way where I could just binge Discovery for hours and hours and hours. I can watch Next Gen or Voyager or Deep Space Nine for like 5 or 6 hours straight and still be having a good time and still want to see more. And with Discovery, 1 or 2 episodes and I'm good. I'm good for a week. And really, sometimes it's more hate watching than just watching, and that's just not what I want from Star Trek. Ooh, the light's changing. New things filming outside. Sorry it's so shaky, by the way. I'm holding my mom's iPhone in my hand and it keeps wiggling around because my arms are weak. They're just weak. But all in all, this episode was okay. It wasn't great. I'd rate it like a 5.5 out of 10. I would probably maybe watch it again. I don't know. I wouldn't watch it again enthusiastically. I might watch it again to see if there were any details I missed. So that's all I have for you on this for now. I know this isn't as long or in-depth as most of my videos. I'm kind of going off the cuff here, but let me know what you thought about the most recent episode of Star Trek Discovery in the comment section down below. If you like my videos, subscribe. If you don't, I'm sure you'll tell me. See you next time. Peter Sane.